Hello and welcome once again to HRN Revive TV. I'm your host today, Arnold Threatt, and we will be looking at a continuing series called Harvest to Harvest. And this segment, I wanted to look at greenhouse farming as a add-on to what we would normally do in the garden. But it has a lot of benefits in that you can do all your starts in there. You can have some summer vegetables in the greenhouse as well. But here in the Deep South, we're going to try something different this year where we actually have this greenhouse that you see in the background here was an afterthought. We added on to the concrete floor out of the barn that's adjacent to us here. And we bought the lumber, treated lumber to finish it. So we have about $600 in this greenhouse. So it was fairly inexpensive for us to do that. So we want to try a dual purpose greenhouse, shade house here in the Deep South. Summertime, it'll be a shade house. Fall, winter, and spring, it will be an actual greenhouse, utilizes all normal greenhouses. The shade house in the summertime, we are going to try to put a shade cloth on the top. And as you can see in the background, we have two walls that are solid and not glass. So we're limiting the amount of sunlight. And it's from the east and north that we have covered. And we're looking at the south, and the west is where we get the optimum sunshine that we have where this greenhouse is located. And in the summertime, we're going to try to create a terrarium type environment where we can grow our lettuces and cool weather crops in here, even in the heat of the summer. So in the fall, we'll probably have a follow-up segment here to tell you how all that stuff went this summer. But this is a greenhouse that was built out of stuff that we had, stuff that people wanted to get rid of. And you could do the same thing and relatively do it inexpensively. You can see all the big windows that we have here are actually sliding glass doors that sort of went out of style. And a friend of mine, Mark Morgan, had all of these stored up, and his wife says, "You got to do something with this stuff." So he calls me up and says, "Hey, can you use these big sliding glass doors?" I said, "Sure, I'm going to build a greenhouse one day." And that was 4 years ago. So finally we got that done this past spring, late winter, early spring. And we have it where it's functionable today. So the outside is relatively inexpensive. We had some of these cattle panels, and we stretched them over the big wire. And we bought a piece of 12 mil plastic for the top. And you can see we used the little clips that goes on the bottom rung to hold that in place over a piece of 1/2-inch PVC pipe. And we were working on it one day. A friend and I were working on it. We went to somewhere to get some parts and come back, and we were busy working, a very windy day, and he looked up and says, "Hey, we don't have a top." So from the time we had left till we got back, a big gust of wind came through. So I ended up putting some ratchet straps over the top, which has worked fine. So we utilized what we had to accomplish what we wanted. It's not a big greenhouse, but for my wife and I and the things that we use it for, it is completely efficient. So if you're ready, we will go inside and look at some of the things that we have put in there and some vegetables that you can see. And we'll talk about Yahweh's designed order for agriculture. Well, here we are on the inside of our greenhouse, and you can see this very simple construction, but yet it's sturdy. What we did is we left the concrete floor that was in that part of the old barn that we claimed for a greenhouse, and then we wanted a place where we could actually plant in the soil. So over half of it is in that arena, and you can see we wanted to do things the way he designed us to do it as far as farming, and we wanted to do it in a small-scale, controlled environment. just to see how things would work for us. Now, in this greenhouse, we have 2 different kinds of cabbages, and we have cauliflower, broccoli, and 2 different kinds of squash, along with radishes on this side, with tomatoes and peppers over here. Now, you see these that have been here a little bit longer are doing quite well. They are not without issues. Some of the leaves that's touching the ground, some of the little nematodes or whatever they are eating on the bottom leaves, but I guess they have to eat too. So we let them have what leaves are on the ground, and it's not going to affect how our plants produce. But in talking about this, we want to look at Yahweh's designed order in the agrarian lifestyle and apply that to our lives as spiritual people who are in love with the Creator of the universe. As I have often said, we are not plant farmers. We're actually dirt farmers because we came from dirt, and there's certain elements within us that's directly connected to the soil. And the way we do modern farming, we do not get the minerals and vitamins and nutrients out of those plants when they're grown not the way that the Creator wanted us to do. So He's got a designed order in every facet of our life. So as we are being prepared by Him to be a bride for His Son Yeshua, we would want to yield to Him every facet of our life and seek out His designed order. For instance, in the home, He has a designed order. It's the father and the son, the male, and then the wife is his help, and all the fruit of the womb that they would produce would be their children, which would be trained corporately by the husband and the wife to love Yahweh with all their heart, mind, soul, and body. Now, that's part of His designed order, and we know that the whole world is trying to change His order. But you know what? They're not going to have to answer to the way they think it ought to be. They're going to have to answer to the way that He says it ought to be. So as we learn to grow the way He has ordained it, we will be getting the things in our bodies that we need. Thus, He says, I will not put on you all the diseases of Egypt. So we're directly connected to His designed order, the way we grow our fruits and vegetables and the things that we consume and our wildlife consumes as well. One of the main things that He has said to so many people is, why do you do all of this cultivating and farming that you do? If you go out and look in the forest, you'll see how I farm. And then you can copy that, for the most part, the way you need to farm. So as we look at these different ways of farming, we start to understand and realize, for instance, that as we continue to use heavy tractors and equipment in our fields, plowing 2 or 3 times a year, we are packing the soil down at a 1-foot depth below the surface, and we're packing that every time we drive those tractors over it, and it's creating a hard pan down there. And that hard pan will not allow the deep minerals and vitamins and all those things nutritionally that our body needs from passing from that level 12 inches below the surface up into the soil where we're planting our fruits and vegetables. So automatically we're missing iron, boron, and all those other deep minerals that our bodies need. And they don't put that in the modern fertilizers. They can't. If they did, it would be a synthetic product rather than a natural product that our Creator put there. As we have learned to look at things the way He does it, and we go back to doing it the way He does, all of a sudden you have the results which is fully capable of helping us be healthy people. Now, I know you can get around that, at least for a season, by taking all the supplements you take. But a lot of those supplements are not natural either. They are synthetic, you can take them and they may help you some, but why do we want to take the short way out? This is the best way. What you see here before you is healthy plants that are producing healthy vegetables for us to eat them. So if we go back to his designed order for the family, anytime that order is upset and it is out of line, then nothing functions properly. So we want to make sure that we, the men, are doing everything that Yahweh's called us to do, and that we encourage our helpmeets to come along and help us and speak to us, and we make those decisions jointly, but ultimately I'm responsible for our family before the Creator of the universe. So I want to make sure everything's done and done properly according to his order. Not how I think it should be, but the way he says so in his word. And one of the messages that we heard there that's just been ringing in my ear is, do not believe what you see, but believe what I have said in my word. So man can make things look good, but only Yahweh can make them sound correct. So as we are trusting him and working out our problems in relationship to him within our home, then he has now the legal right to come and bless us in our homes. If we're not obeying him, he does not have a legal right to come bless you in your home. So I encourage you, in every part of our life on this planet, in our community life, in our global community life, in our family life, in our individual lives, let us do it the way he designed it to be done. We want to do that in the agrarian lifestyle so that we can produce healthy food for healthy people who are following him with their full heart, mind, soul, and body, believing and trusting that Yeshua put us in right relationship to him, and that we're being guided by his Spirit, trusting everything that the Father has said in his word. So these are just words of encouragement today, coming straight from a greenhouse that I love to be in. I also have 2 chairs on the outside, and I moved them out so we'd have room in here. But I have a time down here every day, twice a day, with the Father, because it's nice and quiet, and it's my little safe place. So find your safe place, wherever it is, and be at peace with the Creator. Let him speak to you, you speak to him, and watch him do what only he can do. So until next time, this is Arnold Threatt bidding you shalom.